Welcome to the Get Real with King Arthur show. And today we have Queen Victoria with us. I'm going to interview her. And I apologize that my royal cloak is not on, but it's very hot today in San Diego. So forgive me for not wearing my royal cloak. Well, I was talking with Queen Victoria about the youth, and she's much closer to the youth than I am, I can assure you. And she made some comments that I thought we could share with the audience here. My own observation is that young people today lack commitment to organizations like churches, charitable groups, Boy Scouts, Masons, Knights of Columbus, whatever, and that they also lack commitments to ideas and beliefs. And then she made some comments about some talks she had with others, I guess primarily your roommate. Is that right, Queen Victoria?
Yeah.
And I think specifically about church attendance. If you have read much lately, you know that church attendance has suffered shocking declines, especially with young people. So what were you and your roommate saying about church attendance, for example? Why aren't you going to church regularly? What's wrong with you?
We were talking about how a lot of young people are looking for the truth, especially in subjects where we're not necessarily taught in school or taught by our parents. And I think a lot of young people, including ourselves, are looking for answers. And we're looking for real people who know God, who have real answers. And I think to answer your question about church attendance, I could see the correlation between a decline in attendance and a lack of answers that are needed for young people.
I was years ago, able to sneak into a conference on the emerging church, whatever that is. My nephew was a delegate there. And the speakers said, well, we got all the new gadgets. We got screens and drums and I don't know what. But our young people are saying, we need answers, just as what you said.
Mm-hmm.
What about modern philosophy? What about science? What about how do these relate to one another? What answers do we have?
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you're making, is that I think we're used to putting God in a box and putting the things of God in a box and then putting the things of the world in another box. And I think what young people want is to see God in real life. They're wanting to see God and God work in the hard things in life, the challenges, the really deep unanswered questions that sometimes I feel like the church, Christians, have been scared to answer, to delve into, because it can be confusing or it can be hard to understand God in the midst of the world.
What kind of questions? Let's be specific a little bit.
For example, one of the simplest questions would be evolution and science, and how does God work in, for example, energy and quantum physics, and why does that exist, and what does God think of that, and how are we supposed to use that in our relationship with God? How can we use that as an advantage? How can we be cautious in the ways of the world, or like the ideas of the world? For example, another one would be like something that I think is a fine line is like manifestation, which is a new age topic. And I think it kind of goes parallel with the Christian version would be to have faith in God. And then the more of a new age version would be to have faith, whether that be faith in the universe, faith in ourselves, faith in science, to make something happen. So I think like the church doesn't directly talk about manifestation and the structure of like how science and energy and how things that God created aren't innately bad, but how does God use it for good?
I'm interested in that term manifestations. It's a new one to me.
Yeah, it's pretty popular right now with young people.
What exactly is a manifestation?
In my experience, manifestation is like using the faith you have in the universe and in the way the world works and in some higher power and even in yourself to make something come to pass. So
now, what about your university training? Did you not see answers there?
No, I don't know how much I asked questions about that. Yeah. But I think more after graduating college, you start to like create your own reality, right? And so in that reality, you start to question how things work and why they work a certain way and why certain things are not aligning, or there's a disconnect between that.
Now, you say in college you didn't at university you didn't ask the questions. Do you ask the questions at church with church leaders or religious leaders?
I think I have asked questions about it, but I've always been given a very spiritual answer, like, oh, it's the devil, or, it's demonic, things like that. But I think at a scientific level, I think God is in science. And I think sometimes we don't comprehend or don't want to understand how God works in science.
Well, we have raised some very interesting issues here. And so this would be a good opportunity for people to respond with maybe some answers or some explanations or some help. So give us some response to Get Real with King Arthur and get this poor dear queen some answers. Have a good one.